Highlights 1. Niti Aayog the need 2. Niti Aayog the structure 3. Niti Aayog versus Planning Commission 4. Appraisal 5. Niti Indices Planning Commission. The Planning Commission was set up by a resolution of the Government of India in March 1950 in pursuance of declared objectives of the government to promote a rapid rise in the standard of living of the people by efficient exploitation of the resources of the country, increasing production, and offering opportunities to all for employment in the service of the community. It was not set up either by an act of parliament nor is it a part of the constitution. The Prime Minister is the chairman of the Planning Commission, which works under the overall guidance of the National Development Council. The deputy chairman and the full-time members of the commission, as a composite body, provided advice and guidance for the formulation of 5-year plans, annual plans, state plans, monitoring plan programs, projects and schemes. Fact check. The Planning Commission was abolished and replaced by the Niti Aayog in 2015 by a Union Cabinet decision. The Planning Commission was charged with the responsibility of making assessment of all resources of the country, augmenting deficient resources, formulating plans for the most effective and balanced utilization of resources, and determining priorities. Jawaharlal Nehru was the first chairman of the Planning Commission. 6613-17, Sriram's last National Development Council, NDC, the National Development Council, NDC, or Rashtriya Vikas Parishad, is the apex body for decision creating and deliberations on development matters in India, presided over by the Prime Minister. It was set up in 1952 to strengthen and mobilize the effort and resources of the nation in support of the 5-year plans made by Planning Commission, to promote common economic policies in all socio-economic areas, and to ensure the balanced and rapid development of all sectors of economy and regions of the country. The Council comprises the Prime Minister, the Union Cabinet Ministers, Chief Ministers of all states, or their substitutes, representatives of the Union territories. Members of the Planning Commission are ex officio members of the Council. Ex officio means that by virtue of being members of the Commission, they automatically become members of the Council. NDC, National Development Council, is in a limbo with the establishment of the Niti Aayog. But till date no resolution has been passed to abolish it. Since the inception of Niti Aayog's governing council, which has almost the same composition and roles as NDC, the NDC has had no work assigned to it nor did it have any meetings. Trans-TARS. Niti Aayog. In 2015, the Government of India set up the Niti Aayog, or National Institution for Transforming India Aayog, by replacing the Planning Commission. In Hindi, Niti means policy and Aayog means commission. The reasons were that the nature of economy changed towards a market-dominated system, and that the rights of states were to be given greater consideration, for which a new structure and dynamic was required. The Planning Commission was largely portrayed as overriding the sensitivities and priorities of states, and thus was not respectful of federalism. It provides strategic and technical advice to the government. The Prime Minister of India heads the Aayog as its chairperson. The reason for forming the Niti Aayog is that India is a diverse country, and its states are in various phases of economic development with their own strengths and weaknesses. In this context, a one-size-fits-all approach to economic planning is obsolete. It cannot make India competitive in today's global economy. Snippets. The Niti Aayog is a policy think tank of the Union Government of India that aims to involve the states in economic and development policy making in India. 67. 1317. Sriram's last. Structure and composition. The Niti Aayog comprises the following. The Prime Minister as the chairperson. A governing council composed of chief ministers of all the states and union territories with legislatures, and lieutenant governors of union territories, except Delhi and Puducherry. Regional councils composed of chief ministers of states and lieutenant governors of union territories in the region to address specific issues and contingencies impacting more than one state or region. But the regional councils are not yet set up. Experts and specialists in various fields and full-time organizational framework. Full-time organizational framework it is composed of vice chairperson, 4 full-time members, 2 part-time members, from leading universities, research organizer tie-ins, and other relevant institutions in an ex officio capacity, 4 ex officio members of the Union Council of Ministers, special invitees from the Union Council of Ministers. Chief Executive Officer, with the rank of Secretary to the Government of India, who looks after Administration and Secretariat Governing Council. The Governing Council meets from time to time as the erstwhile National Development Council. The 6th meeting of the Governing Council of Niti Aayog took place in February 2021. The agenda of the meeting included deliberations on agriculture, infrastructure, manufacturing, human resource development, service delivery at grassroots level, and health and nutrition. Governing Council comprises the Prime Minister, Chief Ministers of States and Union Territories, arts, with legislatures and lieutenant governors of other arts. In the 6th meeting, the entry of Ladakh for the first time, in addition to the participation of Jammu and Kashmir as a UT, was witnessed. 68-13-18, Sriram's last snippets. The Governing Council presents a platform to discuss intersectoral, interdepartmental, and federal issues. Regional councils, as seen above, regional councils may be formed to address specific issues and contingencies impacting more than one state or region. These are formed for a specified tenure. Regional councils may be convened by the Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers of States and Lieutenant Governors of Union Territories in the region. These are chaired by the chairperson of the Niti Aayog or his nominee. Hubs at the core of Niti Aayog's creation are 2 hubs. 1. Team India Hub. 2. Knowledge and Innovation Hub. The Team India Hub leads the engagement of states with the central government, while the Knowledge and Innovation Hub builds Niti's think tank capabilities. Aims and objectives. Niti Aayog provides a critical directional and strategic input into the development process. It is a think tank that provides governments at the central and state levels with relevant strategic and technical advice across the spectrum of key elements of policy, such as Make in India, Digital India, Asset Monetizer Time, Atmanirbhar, and Swachh Bharat. It fosters better interministry coordination and better center-state coordination. It helps evolve a shared vision of national development priorities and foster cooperative federalism, recognizing that strong states make a strong nation. It develops mechanisms to formulate credible plans at the village level and aggregate these progressively at higher levels of government, a bottom-up approach to development. It ensures inclusive economic growth. It creates a knowledge, innovation, and entrepreneurial support system through a collaborative community of national and international experts, practitioners, and partners. Snippets. Niti Aayog will monitor and evaluate the implementation of programs and focus on technology upgradation and capacity building. 69. 1318, Sriram's IAS. Objectives. Through the above, the Niti Aayog aims to accomplish the following objectives. An administration paradigm in which the government is an enabler rather than a provider of first and last resort progress from food security to focus farmers' income. Ensure that the economically vibrant middle class remains engaged and its potential is fully realized. Leverage India's pool of entrepreneurial, scientific, and intellectual human capital. Incorporate the significant geoeconomic and geopolitical strength of the non-resident Indian community. Use urbanization as an opportunity to create a wholesome and secure habitat through the use of modern technology. Use technology to reduce opacity and potential for misadventures in governance. Leveraging of India's demographic dividend and realization of the potential of youth, men and women, through education, skill development, elimination of gender bias, and employment. Elimination of poverty and the chance for every Indian to live a life of dignity and self-respect. Redressal of inequalities based on gender bias, caste, and economic disparities. Integrate villages institutionally into the development process. Policy support to more than 50 million small businesses, which are a major source of employment creation. Safeguarding of our environmental and ecological assets. Niti Aayog functions. Niti Aayog is developing itself as a state-of-the-art resource center with the necessary resources, knowledge, and skills that will enable it to act with speed, promote research and innovation, provide strategic policy vision for the government, and deal with contingent issues. Snippets. Niti Aayog's entire gamut of activities can be divided into 4 main heads. 1. Design policy and program framework. 2. Foster cooperative federalism. 3. Monitoring and evaluation. 4. Think tank and knowledge and innovation hub. 701319, Sriram's IAS. Niti Aayog versus Planning Commission. The composition and functions of the two bodies are different. Planning Commission did not have state UT representation. Planning Commission was the operational arm of the NDC, which is a political institution. Niti Aayog has the governing council that approximates to the NDC. That is, Niti is PC and NDC in one body. Planning Commission was directed by the NDC to flesh out the 5-year plans. The Niti Aayog, in contrast, has no responsibility for socio-economic planning, as it has been abolished. Niti Aayog has the provision of regional councils that the Planning Commission did not have. Planning Commission had more members and they were all full-time members. Planning Commission had allocated functions recommending plan financial transfers, centrally sponsored schemes, etc. Niti Aayog does not have such a function. Niti's achievements. The Niti Aayog, as a policy think tank of the GOI, works with the aim to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and to strengthen cooperative federalism by bringing the involvement of state governments of India in the socio-economic policy-making process using a bottom-up approach. Its initiatives include 15-year vision map, 7-year strategy, and 3-year action agenda, en route, Digital India, Adult Innovation Mission, medical education reform, agriculture reforms, model land leasing law, reforms of the Agricultural Produce Marketing Committee Act, agricultural marketing and farmer-friendly reforms index for ranking states. Indices measuring states' performance in health, education, and water management. Subgroup of chief ministers on rationalization of centrally sponsored schemes. Subgroup of chief ministers on Swak Bharat Abhiyan. Subgroup of chief ministers on skill development. Task forces on agriculture and elimination of poverty. En route is the Adult Mission for rejuvenation and urban transformation. The scheme was launched in 2015 with the focus to establish infrastructure that could ensure adequate sewage networks and water supply for urban transformation by implementing urban revival projects. There is a very good example of the involvement of states in policy matters. In 2015, 3 subgroups of chief ministers were set up for making recommendations in 3 important areas: centrally sponsored schemes, skill development, and 71. 1319. Sriram's IAS. Swak Bharat. The subgroup on centrally sponsored schemes was asked to study 66 centrally sponsored schemes and recommend which ones to continue, which to transfer to states, and which to cut down. The government of India has launched the Transformation of Aspirational Districts initiative in January 2018 with a vision of a new India by 2022, where the focus is to improve India's ranking under Human Development Index, raising living standards of its citizens, and ensuring inclusive growth of all. A total of 117 aspirational districts have been identified by Niti Aayog based upon composite indicators from health and nutrition, education, agriculture, and water resources, financial inclusion and skill development, and basic infrastructure, which have an impact on Human Development Index. The broad contours of the program are convergence of central and state schemes, collaboration of central, state-level Prabari officers, and district collectors, and competition among districts driven. With states as the main drivers, this program focuses on the strength of each district, identify low-hanging fruits for immediate improvement, measure progress, and rank districts. For each district, a central Prabari officer of the rank of Additional Secretary Adjoint Secretary has been nominated for the rapid transformation of 115 backward districts across the country. Appraisal Davias. The government replaced the Planning Commission with Niti Aayog to play a facilitative role and not allocative role, and assist in federalizing the growth process in the country with the empowerment of states. Supporters say the idea to create an institution where state leaders are actively associated with the centre and other stakeholders in formulating a vision for the development of the country is right as compared with the previous structure, in which a few experts formulated the vision and presented it to the NDC. The relationship between centre and states under the previous institution, Planning Commission, was unequal because the institution gave plan assistance to states and made states dependent on it. Niti tries to have a more equal relationship. Niti has a larger role for sustainable development. Niti Aayog monitors, coordinates and ensures the implementation of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. It is nominated as the nodal body to bring the 17 development goals into action across India. Replacing the 5-year plans beyond March 2017, the Niti Aayog prepared the 15-year vision document. A 7-year strategy document spanning 2017 to 2018 to 2023 to 2024 to convert the long-term vision into implementable policy and action as a part of a national development agenda. The 3-year action agenda for 2017 to 2018 to 2019 to 2020 aligns development plans to the 14th Finance Commission award period. 72. 1319. Sriram's LAS. Fact check. Niti Aayog prepared a vision document strategy and action agenda beyond the 12th 5-year plan. Niti indices. Being a body that is in charge of ensuring development. Niti developed many indices to enable states to compete with one another, competitive federalism, to improve the socioeconomic indicators of the country. Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. SDG India Index. In a federal system like ours, for the SDGs to be achieved, the states must play a leading role. The approach of cooperative and competitive federalism needs to be activated, for which Niti developed the concept of the SDG India Index, which is the world's first government-led subnational measure of SDG progress. It measures the progress of all states and union territories in achieving the SDGs. The first edition of the index was launched in December 2018. A dashboard has been developed for the index, with interactive visualization, which is in the public domain. The index adopts a methodology in which the status on each SDG, and the performance of every state and union territory, and that of the country, are measured on a scale of 0 to 100, where 100 implies achieving the target, and 0 indicates the worst performance. The SDG index evaluates the progress of states and union territories on social, economic, and environmental criteria, and is released every year by the government. India's overall score across Sustainable Development Goals improved marginally by 6 points, from 60 in 2019 to 66 in 2021. This rise in the score was due to the countrywide improvement across clean water and sanitation, Goal 6, and affordable and clean energy, Goal 7. This edition of the index covers 17 goals, 70 targets, and 115 indicators, which is a huge improvement over the previous ones. Over the years, SDG index has fostered competition among states and union territories by ranking them. Fact check. In Niti Aayog's Index for Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, 2021, Kerala retained the top spot, followed by Himachal Pradesh, while Bihar featured at the bottom. 73 CCCC. C. E. A. E. 6. C. 1320 Sriram's Last. Multidimensional Poverty Index. The Global Multidimensional Poverty Index, MPI, is an international measure of acute multidimensional poverty. It was first developed in 2010 by Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, OPHI, and UNDP, for inclusion in UNDP's flagship Human Development Report in 2010, as we shall see in the poverty chapter ahead. Since 2018, the global MPI provides guidance for the implementation and monitoring of SDG 1, which aims to end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Although often defined according to income, poverty can also be defined in terms of the deprivations people face in their daily lives. The global MPI scrutinizes a person's deprivations over 10 indicators across the 3 dimensions of health, education, and standard of living. It offers a high-resolution lens to identify those who are poor and the extent to which they are poor. National Multidimensional Poverty Index, NMPI. In 2021 November, Niti Aayog released the National Multidimensional Poverty Index, NMPI, baseline report, in which India's national MPI is defined as multiple and simultaneous deprivations faced by households across the 3 macro dimensions of health, education, and living standards. Under government's Global Indices for Reforms and Growth, GIRG, initiative, the country's performance is being monitored across 29 global indices, including Human Development Index, HDI, Global Hunger Index, GHI, Global Competitiveness Index, GCI, Human Capital Index, HCI, Global Innovation Index, GII. Among others, this exercise is aimed at using the monitoring mechanism of important social, economic, and other internationally recognized indices to improve outcomes. According to Global MPI 2021, India's rank is 66 out of 109 countries. Under this initiative, Niti Aayog is the nodal agency for the Multidimensional Poverty Index, MPI. The national MPI project is aimed at deconstructing the global MPI and creating a globally aligned and yet customized India-centered MPI. National Multidimensional Poverty Index, baseline report based on NFHS 4, 2015-16, has been developed by Niti Aayog in consultation with 12 line ministries and in partnership with state governments and the index publishing agencies Oxford University's Oxford Poverty and Humour Development Initiative, OPHI, and United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. The baseline report is based on National Family Health Survey 4, which was conducted in 2015-16. NFHS is conducted by the International Institute for Population Sciences, IIPS, under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. 74. 1320. Sriram's Last. Baseline report based on NFHS 4, 2015-16, is a contribution towards measuring progress towards Target 1.2 of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, which aims at reducing at least by half the proportion of men, women and children of all ages living in poverty in all its dimensions. Across 3 dimensions of health, education and standard of living, it includes indicators on nutrition, child and adolescent mortality, maternal care, years of schooling, school attendance, cooking fuel, sanitation, drinking water, electricity, housing, bank accounts and assets. NFHS 4 precedes the full rollout of flagship schemes on housing, drinking water, sanitation, electricity, cooking fuel, financial inclusion, and other major efforts towards improving school attendance, nutrition, mother and child health, etc. Hence, it serves as a useful source for measuring the situation at baseline, before large-scale rollout of nationally important schemes. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, PMAY, Jal Jeevan Mission, JJM, Swachh Bharat Mission, SBM. Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana, Saubhagya, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, PMUY, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, PMJDY, Poshan Abhiyan, and Samagra Shiksha are some of those schemes and programs. The household microdata collected at the unit level for the NFHS serves as the basis of the computation of national MPI. This unit-level microdata collected in 2015-16 has been used in the current MPI report to derive an idea of baseline multidimensional poverty, i.e., where the country was with respect to MPI before full-scale rollout of the above-mentioned schemes. The progress of the country with respect to this baseline will be measured using the NFHS 5 data collected in 2019-20. Preliminary observations of NFHS 5, 2019-20, are encouraging. They suggest improvement in access to clean cooking fuel, sanitation, and electricity, which translates to reduction in deprivation. Reduction in deprivation in school attendance, drinking water, bank accounts, and housing is reported. These improvements indicate an overall direction of significant reduction in the incidence of multidimensional poverty in the forthcoming index based on NFHS 5, 2019-20, household microdata. The Progress Report, a follow-up to the baseline National MPI report, will capture this reduction in multidimensional poverty between 2015 to 16, NFHS 4, and 2019-20, NFHS 5. The MPI will enable estimation of poverty not only at the level of the states, but also for all the 700-plus districts across the 12 indicators, capturing simultaneous deprivations and indicator-wise contribution to poverty. It will facilitate formulation of sectoral policies and targeted interventions which contribute towards ensuring eradication of poverty. 75. C. 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 G. C. C. E. E. C. 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 1320. Sriram's IAS. NMPI 2021. The new Multidimensional Poverty Index, MPI, developed by the Niti Aayog shows that the poverty headcount for 2015 to 16 was 25.01% nationally. This is somewhere in between the earlier poverty numbers for 2011 to 12, which was estimated to be 21.9% using the Tendulkar Committee methodology, and 29.5% as measured by the Sriram Committee. According to the MPI, rural poverty headcount was 32.75% nationally, which was close to 4 times the urban poverty headcount of 8.81%. The 12 major contributors to poverty at the national level were the deprivation of 12 essential elements in varying degrees. These are nutrition, 28.14%, years of schooling, 15.14%, maternal health, 10.4%, cooking fuel, 9.34%, sanitation, 8.61%, housing, 8.31%, school attendance, 7.39%, assets, 3.58%, electricity, 3.35%, drinking water, 2.23%, bank account, 2.17%, and child and adolescent mortality, 1.33%. Bihar, Jharkhand, and Uttar Pradesh have emerged as the poorest states in India, according to Niti Aayog's first Multidimensional Poverty Index, MPI, report. As per the index, 51.91% population of Bihar is poor, followed by 42.16% in Jharkhand, 37.79% in Uttar Pradesh. While Madhya Pradesh, 36.65%, has been placed fourth in the index, Meghalaya, 32.67%, is at the fifth spot. Kerala, 0.71%, Goa, 3.76%. Sikkim, 3.82%, Tamil Nadu, 4.89%, and Punjab, 5.59%, have registered the lowest poverty across India. Population of Bihar is poor, followed by 42.16% in Jharkhand, 37.79% in Uttar Pradesh. While Madhya Pradesh, 36.65%, has been placed fourth in the index, Meghalaya, 32.67%, is at the fifth spot. Kerala, 0.71%, Goa, 3.76%. Sikkim, 3.82%, Tamil Nadu, 4.89%, and Punjab, 5.59%, have registered the lowest poverty across India and are at the bottom of the index. While among Union Territories, UTS, Dadra and Nagar Haveli 27.36%, Jammu and Kashmir, and Ladakh 12.58%, Daman and Diu 6.82%, and Chandigarh 5.97%, have emerged as the poorest states in India, Puducherry having 1.72% of its population as poor, Lakshadweep 1.82%, Andaman and Nicobar Islands 4.3%, and Delhi 4.79%, have fared better. School Education Quality Index, SEQI. Niti Aayog released SEQI in 2019. It will serve as a regular and transparent review of the status of school education quality across the states and UTs. The next version of SEQI will be released after the availability of the National Achievement Survey 2021 data. The index aims to bring an outcomes focus to education policy by providing states and UTs with a platform to identify their strengths and weaknesses and undertake requisite course corrections or policy interventions. In line with Niti Aayog's mandate to foster the spirit of competitive and cooperative federalism, the index strives to facilitate the sharing of knowledge and best practices across states and UTs. SEQI seeks to drive policy reforms that will improve the quality of school education and institutionalize improvements in learning levels, access, equity, infrastructure, and governance processes. Developed through a collaborative process including key stakeholders such as MHRD, the World Bank and sector experts, the index consists of 30 critical 76 1321 Sriram's LAS indicators that measure the overall effectiveness, quality and efficiency of the Indian school education system. The index encourages states and UTs to improve their scores by showing progress across these aspects. Snippets. SEQI was developed to evaluate the performance of states and union territories, UTs, in the school education sector. Snippets. The index recognizes that school education is a subject on the concurrent list and that state-level leadership is crucial for improving outcomes in a cost-effective manner. State Health Index. Niti Aayog, in collaboration with MoHFW and with technical assistance from the World Bank, has been spearheading the Health Index initiative since 2017 to measure the annual performance of states and union territories on a variety of indicators, health outcomes, governance, and processes. The Health Index is a composite measure of states and union territories based on 23 health indicators with major weightage given to mortality rate, total fertility rate, and sex ratio. Among other parameters, Kerala has emerged as the top-ranking state in terms of overall health performance. The ranking was done under three categories: larger states, smaller states, and union territories, UTS, to ensure comparison among similar entities. Composite Water Management Index, CWMI. To supplement the efforts of Jal Shakti Ministry, Niti Aayog prepares Composite Water Management Index, CWMI. CWMI ranks various states on water use metrics, efficiency, etc. Gujarat is the top performer in water management. Niti Aayog first launched and conceptualized the Composite Water Management Index in 2018 as a tool to instill the sense of cooperative and competitive federalism among the states. This was the first ever attempt at creating a pan-India set of metrics that measured different dimensions of water management and use across the life cycle of water. The CWMI is an important tool to assess and improve the performance of states or union territories in efficient management of water resources. This has been done through a first-of-its-kind water data collection exercise in partnership with Ministry of Jal Shakti, Ministry of Rural Development and all. The states or union territories. The index would provide useful information for the states and also for the concerned central ministries and departments, enabling them to (77) 1321 Sriram, IAS. Formulate and implement lateral strategies for header management if water resources. Snippets. CWM, which wears the performance of water fictions, comes at a time when the commerce are facing a deep groundwater. Export Preparedness Index. The first ever Export Preparedness Index, EPI, launched in 2020, and EPT 2020 is based on 4 pillars: export policy, business environment, export infrastructure, and export performance. The first report to examine export preparedness and performance of Indian states. EPI intends to identify challenges and opportunities, enhance the effectiveness of government policies, and encourage a facilitative regulatory framework. The structure of the EPI includes 4 pillars: policy, business ecosystem, export performance, and 11 sub-pillars: export promotion policy, institutional framework, business environment, infrastructure, transport connectivity, access to finance, export infrastructure, trade support, R&D infrastructure, export diversification, and growth orientation. Overall, most of the coastal states are the best performers. Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu occupy the top 3 ranks, respectively. EPI can be used by states and UTS to benchmark their performance against their peers and adopt better policy mechanisms to foster export-led growth at the subnational level and tap export opportunities. Fact-check EPI 2020 is based on 4 pillars: export policy, business environment, export infrastructure, and export performance. Agricultural Marketing and Farmer-Friendly Reforms Index. Niti Aayog launched an index, Agricultural Marketing and Farmer-Friendly Reforms Index, to rank states and UTS that is based on implementation of 7 provisions proposed under Model APMC Act. Joining ENAM initiative, special treatment to fruits and vegetables for marketing and level of taxes in Mandis. 3 indicators broadly chosen are: 1. Agricultural market reforms. 2. Land lease reforms. 3. Reforms related to forestry on private land, felling and transit of trees. Firstly, these indicators reveal ease of doing agribusiness, as well as opportunities for farmers to benefit from modern trade and commerce, and have wider 78-13-22 Sriram's IAS option for sale of produce. These indicators also represent competitiveness, efficiency, and transparency in agri-markets. The second area of reforms included in the index is relaxation in restrictions related to lease in and lease out agricultural land, and change recognized tenant and safeguard landowners liberalization in law too. The third area included in the index represent freedom given to farmers for felling and transit of trees grown on private land. This represents opportunity to diversify farm business. Fact check. The state of Maharashtra achieved first rank in implementation of various reforms. India Innovation Index. Niti Aayog, along with the Institute for Competitiveness, constructs India Innovation Index, which examines the innovation capabilities and performance of the states and union territories. The first edition of the index was launched in 2019. The India Innovation Index aims to create an extensive framework for the continual evaluation of India's innovation environment. The index aims to rank states and UTS based on their scores, recognize opportunities and challenges, and assist in tailoring government policies to foster innovation. Niti Aayog, with its mandate of promoting competitive federalism among all states and union territories, seeks to utilize the India Innovation Index in catalyzing the innovation outcome of the nation. As per Niti Aayog, innovation is defined as creation, development, and implementation of a new product, process, or service, with the aim of improving efficiency, effectiveness, or competitive advantage. The index that ranks different states and UTS based on how they support innovation has the motive to showcase the government's initiative to create an innovation-driven economy. The competitive measure will empower them to improve their innovation policies by highlighting their strengths and weaknesses. The India Innovation Index is modeled along the Global Innovation Index brought out by the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO. 36 indicators are used for assessment. Indicators used for ranking are 5 enablers pillars: human capital, investment, knowledge worker, business environment, and safety and legal environment. 2 performance pillars: knowledge output, knowledge diffusion. Karnataka is the most innovative state in the country in terms of offering a conducive environment for innovation and performance parameters. As per Niti Aayog's India Innovation Index 2020 rankings, 2021. Snippets. There is a very strong correlation between innovation and development. As states become more innovative, their per capita GDP rises. 79-13-22 Sriram's IAS indices under construction. Agriculture Transformation Index. Niti Aayog is working on an agriculture transformation index, which will measure the performance of states across 6 pillars: inputs, sustainability, productivity and diversification, policy. preservation, processing and exports, and farmers' income and welfare. The index is aimed at increasing farmers' income. District Hospital Index. Despite the critical role of district hospitals in providing inclusive secondary level healthcare services and the generous funds allocated to them under the National Health Mission, there's no comprehensive system to assess their performance based on their outcomes. To address this lacuna, Niti Aayog is working to track the performance of district hospitals across all states, thus focusing primarily on outputs and outcomes. This framework for ranking district hospitals, with focus on achieving key health outcomes, is expected to foster a competitive spirit amongst district hospitals and states in addition to in fostering a culture of cooperation by way of sharing of good practices. Further, it will help identify facilities which need focus and those that need to be incentivized by the state governments. The rating will create an environment to nudge hospitals towards improvement. The exercise will also provide an evidence base and help identify hospitals that need to be incentivized. The indicators on which performance will be measured include OPD per doctor, number of laboratory tests per technician, stockout rate of essential drugs, bed occupancy rate, C-section rate, blood bank replacement rate and post-surgical infection rate, number of functional hospital beds per 1,000,000 population, ratio of doctors, nurses and paramedical staff are other relevant for accessing the performance of district hospitals. State Energy Index. Niti Aayog has been working on a state energy index that is set to foster healthy competition in the state's power distribution. The tool is designed to assess and further improve the performance of states to efficiently manage their energy resources. The criteria are viability, access, affordability and reliability of energy, clean energy initiatives, energy efficiency and technology innovation. It should not be confused with another index called State Energy Efficiency Index that has been developed by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, BEE, of Union Ministry of Power and Alliance for an Energy Efficient Economy, AEE. It has indicators covering all demand sectors: buildings, industry, municipalities, transport, agriculture and DISCOMs. 36 states and union territories have been assessed in State EE Index 2019. 80.